Okay, we are on our part 3 of 4 series in our Advent series. Today we're looking at power and strength. Power manifesting through us or expressing through us as strength. And this is based on the idea that there are 4 characteristics of God, and we don't want to get too intellectual about this, but when we think of God as life. That's the first element we looked at. God is love. Life expresses as enthusiasm, love expresses as understanding. And the kind of understanding that it expresses as is to realize that love draws to us that which is for our highest good and dissolves that which is not. And we apply this understanding to ourselves and to the people in our life. Today's subject, power, expresses as strength, and that strength can manifest in many ways. It can be a strength of faith, strength of physical endurance that we may be called upon to utilize. Strength manifests in a number of ways, just to hold fast sometimes. And then next week we'll look at intelligence, which expresses as order. And so I am focusing on the affirmations that are in the on the back of the program, and using those as kind of our guideline to follow today. So the first one is, I am an expression of pure power. I am an expression of pure power. Let's say that together. I am an expression of pure power. As we make statements like this, it's always good to let the thought drop down into the emotional side as much as you possibly can. And I know that's not something you just do at the drop of a hat necessarily, but to see yourself as the power of God in expression. And what does that imply? It means that there's no limit to the power that we have or that we are. The thing that empowers or powers this whole universe is powering me. And so it's not something that's limited, it's unlimited. And it's an important concept to carry, but it's more important to get a gut feeling for the truth of this statement. That I am alive by the power of God. Or call it whatever you want, the power of creative life force, power of infinite mind, power of the presence. In whatever way you relate to it best, I am an expression of pure power. And we're not talking about the kind of power that overpowers, because if you look at the natural world, it all seems to work together pretty well. That if balance needs to occur, the proper power is asserted for that balance to be brought forth. And we as human beings can throw that balance off, at least for a time. But when we say, I am an expression of pure power, the affirmation, the words, as we become conscious of them, help align our consciousness with this truth. So power is conviction to believe in yourself. And what self is this that we are to believe in? It's certainly not the self that feels powerful one day and very weak the next. There's a self that abides beneath that, and we're being called all the time to find it, to uncover it, to recover it. Power is conviction to believe in yourself. And I'm not going to go down the road of the power of positive thinking where whatever you believe you can do, you can achieve. This is true. But whether you're achieving anything or not, do you believe in yourself? And oftentimes, overachievers do not believe in themselves. They only believe in what they achieve. It's kind of a subtle difference, but it's a profound difference. You can be a great success. You can have everything in life that you could ever imagine you want, and still not believe in yourself. Still not believe that that is enough. And so that's the question we're always asking. We're always having to redefine our spiritual understanding. Power is conviction to believe in yourself. What is the self that I am to believe in? Do I believe in it only as long as I'm successful, only as long as I'm achieving? Or do I believe in my being? Do I believe in my essence, in my reality? Do I have to have something that makes me somebody? Do I have to surround myself with friends and successes to show the world that I'm worth something? Or do I believe in myself? Have I expressed the power to do that? Power is conviction. To believe in yourself, conviction. Absolute certainty that I, of myself, am worth something. And what is that? What am I worth? The man that discovered the treasure buried in the field became willing to sell everything he owned so he could buy the treasure, so he could buy the field that held the treasure. Everything he owned represented who he believed he used to be, who he believed he was. But he found something of greater value. He no longer needed to add something to add value to himself. When he sold all of his possessions, that's symbolic of you and I just taking a new look. Who am I? And what is this self that is valuable? What is this treasure hidden in a field? Or this pearl of great price? And the journey that we are on is a very personal, private thing. You know, this is something we are left to ask and answer. And only we can know where we are. Only we can know if we are wearing the type of clothing that is designed to please the world, or if we feel satisfied wearing it. And I've got a feeling that our purpose in coming here is to be ourselves, to be true to who we are. And we often get lost. We lose that part of ourselves because we redefine it. Of myself, I am nothing. I'm not good enough, so I must add things and add value by means of adding things. And the world will think that I'm worth something. And that's how we think. Just watch the news for 15 seconds, minutes, I don't know. Who are the people everyone's listening to? It's the mega billionaires. It's the people with the most money. What makes us think they're any smarter than anybody else? Well, obviously they are, because they have so much money. But in many cases, when you look at their personal lives, I wouldn't trade them for any of it. If you look at the problems they have, that they've had, but that shows us where we put value. And so we look at ourselves and, well, I'm not a billionaire, so I must not be worth much. But on the spiritual level, spirit is equal every place. And I'm not saying that we divide the wealth and any of that kind of thing. I'm not saying on a material level we do that. We're not talking about materialism, we're talking about spirituality. But the people we listen to are the people who have the most money. And so we look at ourselves and say, I don't have that much money, I'm not worth much. That's one of the possessions that probably most of us have that we can get rid of. Because the treasure that we find buried in the field is us, and it's worth more than all of the preconceptions that we have, all the preceptions. If you can feel good about yourself and your life right where you are, right as your life is now, then you've achieved something. You've achieved something that many of our billionaire friends have not. That is a level of self-acceptance. It's just something to think about, because we are confronted with this type of imagery all the time. Most of us live in a self-image that is based on standards set up by the world, material standards. And how good we feel about ourselves depends on how we measure up to those standards. And what if we don't measure up to those standards? We just sneak off to a corner someplace and hide, say I'm not worth anything. We have to find our own center of power, our own sense of worth, self-worth. And we don't find it in the self-image. We find it in the soul. We find it in the spiritual dimension, in the spiritual level of our own being. Power is conviction to believe in yourself. It follows that power is peace. When you are feeling empowered by spirit, you are at peace. And you know, above all, whether or not this is true of you. You can tell me I'm peaceful, and you can look peaceful, and I can believe you're peaceful. And you can go off and fret. You can go off and have some level of experience that's not so peaceful in your own thoughts, in your own world, your own perception of yourself and how your world is unfolding. So this is a very valuable thing, to find your center of power so you find your center of peace. And you know you found the one when you experience the other. You know you found your center of power, the conviction to believe in yourself. When you find your peace, you experience peace. Power is self-confidence. And again, what self are we talking about? Power is understanding that you are indestructible. That no matter what you go through, no matter how your life goes up and down, that there is a reality in you that is changeless. It's a straight line. It doesn't go up and it doesn't go down. It is steady. It is steady as the presence of God. And when we find that center of power, we find steadiness. And that means that we can look out at the world, what's going on in the world, and find that we see it for what it is, but it doesn't dictate our state of mind. It does dictate the state of mind of all of us. But our question we ask ourselves is, for how long will it do it? You can be knocked off your spiritual pedestal pretty easily. The question is, how fast can you get back on it? Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it doesn't. But it's always the same process. We're always challenged. Self-image is always challenged. That which we are holding out to the world is challenged in some way. And if it's challenged to the degree where we don't have an answer for the challenge, we can't answer it, then it takes a while for us to recoup. And what we usually do is try to patch up the broken cracks in the self-image to get back to that place. But what if we take another route and we just sit down and let all of it go until we reestablish ourselves in the awareness of our infinite nature? That which is in me is greater than that which is in the world. That's the route we want to go. It's the narrow gate, it's the harder way. Because it's so much easier to just work with all of the broken ends that are out there in our life and try to patch them together so we'll feel better. And it's not that we want to be irresponsible either. We do want to put everything back together as good as we can. But you know what happens when you get it all put back together. It all falls apart again. It just keeps doing that. And we have this illusion that someday we're going to build a self-image. It's a Humpty Dumpty that will never fall off the wall and shatter. But it just won't happen until we touch that center of power where we believe in ourselves, the conviction to believe in yourself, the peace, the self-confidence. Power expresses in this way. And power is the strength to empower others. What is the most empowering thing you could do for another? The most empowering thing you can do for another is to find your own center of power. Because people know when you do it. People know when you touch that changeless center. It shows. They can hear it in your voice. They can see it in your actions, see it in your face. And they know when you are out of touch with that as well. But more importantly, you know. But one of the greatest gifts I learned a long time ago, one of the greatest gifts we can give to the world is ourselves. To be true to ourselves. And that is the narrow gate. It is not an easy thing to do sometimes. Because we lose ourselves in our accomplishments, in our would-be accomplishments. So it's a process of coming home, coming back to our center, finding our center of power. The full radiance of my soul empowers me to be steadfast in all that I am and all that I do. Let's say this together. The full radiance of my soul empowers me to be steadfast in all that I am and all that I do. Think of your power, your spiritual power, as a fountain of living water bubbling up from your center. I've always liked that imagery. Sometimes as I sit still, I'll have that visualization. The spirit is like a fountain of living water. I don't visualize water necessarily, but energy. And I just envision this energy rising up, and water is a good metaphor. But to think that there is an endless fountain of energy welling up at your center that is you. It's me. It's our essence, our being. The full radiance of my soul empowers me to be steadfast in all that I am and all that I do. It's like I bring myself to the table in everything that I do. The times that we are most upset are when we are furthest from ourselves. We're feeling powerless. The world is running over us. We're out of control. The part of us that's trying to control the universe is the self-image. And why does it do this? Because if something happens to the world, it's a reflection on the self-image. And I can't be at peace till I get it fixed. And I'm not discounting this feeling, because when you have a problem in your life, you want to resolve it. That's all of our tendencies. And we, in this country, or in this era, I should say, because we share a lot of the same experiences other people do, we have a lot of stuff in our lives. We have a lot of things that we are holding up. A lot of things have to keep balanced. Just going through the Medicare thing again, you get day after day after day, you get offers, and constant bombardment of things. And I'm grateful for all the good stuff that is there, but we have to make decisions. We have to keep on top of things. We have to pay our bills. We have to stay with a world that we don't always want to be in. But because we are in it, we have to support it. We have to do what we have to do to keep it going. Sometimes it would feel nice if we could just lift it all off of our shoulders and set it aside. And basically that's what meditation is. It's saying, for this few moments that I'm going to be still, I'm going to take my world and I'm going to set it off. I'm going to let it be. I'm not going to worry about having to solve any of the problems. And I'm going to let my light shine, let my spiritual power, like a fountain of living water, bubble up and flow into the whole of my life. It's to let go. And to feel that center of power as a living presence, so that when I get up and go about my business, I can bring that consciousness with me. And know that living water, that living energy is pouring out to empower me to make decisions, to see things from a higher perspective, from a healing perspective, healing place, and to deal with that situation in a way that is very practical. My strength is boundless. My power has no limits. We've got our little modern-day Mary Poppins here. My strength is boundless. My power has no limits. Shall we speak these words together? My strength is boundless. My power has no limits. You don't have to believe this to say it. That's the beauty of affirmations. Affirming something brings your energy around into agreement with what you're saying. It's what you're saying is true, but you may not believe it's true, but say it anyway. My strength is boundless. My power has no limits. You may not feel that in a given situation, but say it anyway. Because you want to bring your thinking and you're feeling in harmony with what is true, you will not always feel less than this thing you're looking at this moment. This too shall pass. In stillness, find your center of power. That is the secret. It's not becoming something more than you are. It's to find your center of power. Find what you already have. It's really it's a subtle thing until it dawns on you what that means. I have everything I need. My life is good. I'm okay. I have what I need to take the next step or take this step. I know what to do and I do it. In stillness, find your center of power. In the busyness of life, act from this center of power. I think it was Emerson that talked about how easy it is when you're alone to feel your center of power, to feel the beauty of a spiritual principle, the power of a spiritual principle. But when you go out in life, it's easy to forget that, easy to lose it. And I think all of us understand that. We know how easy that is. You may start your day with a daily word or a reading of some kind, a devotional of some kind. And it's always a refreshing thing to do. It's like washing your face in the morning or something that feels good and right. But then you get up and go about your business, and the phone rings and you get a message or you get email or you get something that reminds you there's something that needs to be fixed and you're not sure exactly how to do it. And so you begin to go down and to another level. And pretty soon you're not much better off than if you were not on a spiritual path at all. So the key is to bring that awareness into your daily experience. And again, there's so many opportunities to lose it. So we keep it up. In the busyness of life, act from this center of power. Just a reminder of that. Power arises as the strength to do that which is mine to do. Power arises as the strength to do that which is mine to do. Let's say that together. Power arises as the strength to do that which is mine to do. If you're feeling powerless to do anything about some condition in your life, release the emotional energy of helplessness as you use this affirmation. So that's a denial and an affirmation, the releasing of the emotional energy of helplessness. It's being aware that it's there, and not trying to overcome it, but releasing it. And there's a big difference because to overcome something, we usually are trying to gain something to overcome the thing we feel we lack. But this is about letting go. Do not try to make anything happen or even look for changes in your life. Okay? It's to look at your life and say it's good, just as it is. I've talked about treating your life as a friend. You know, we're always saying, I like you, but I'd like you to be better. I'd like you a lot more if you were different. So we try to change it. But what if you look at your life and say, I like you just like you are? Or I love you just like you are. Nothing has to change. Okay, you got this thing over here, that thing over there, that's fine. That's how it is right now. But that's life. That's my life right now. And it's good. So it's getting to a point where we can let go. Simply allow the flow of power to rise in your being and know it expresses as the strength you need as you need it. Simply allow the flow of power to rise in your being and know it expresses as the strength you need as you need it. So it's taking one moment at a time, one step at a time. I think our support community talks about one day at a time, and we often have to bring it back to one moment at a time, to bring that awareness back that right now it's okay. And I start thinking about, well, it doesn't look okay. Well, stop doing that. Pull myself back. Right now it's okay. Okay, I believe that's the end of our, let me check here. Yep, it is. So I appreciate you coming out, and we will look at intelligence and order next week. That's one of my favorite subjects, is intelligence and how it expresses through us, because it's one of our measurements that we have scientifically also. And there's a reason for that. There's a way to explain that. Okay, so thanks again for coming out, and hope that you join us again next week. Thank you for watching this week's program. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with others. We want to reach as many people as we can, and we appreciate your help. If you'd like to help support this ministry, just click the donate card at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Your financial support means a lot to us. We have many subjects in our video lineup, so feel free to take a look. If there's a topic you don't see and would like me to address, just put it in the comment section. I'd love to know what's on your mind. To subscribe to this channel, simply click our logo. Thanks again for your interest in Independent Unity, and have a wonderful week.